Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. So good to be with you on this, I think it's Tuesday, 2016, the month of April, back in Asheville, North Carolina. Feels really good to be back here in the cradle of love, as I call it. Hi, Sylvia. And we're going to start off today with some meditation, with a little bit of silent time. Allow the energy to build, the community to form, and the vibrational frequency, the presence to electrify and unify the magnetic frequency of our hearts in attunement with each other, and allow the magic and miracles that want to come through this field of presence that we create together. So just a couple of minutes of silent time to be together, and then we'll have some words. So we're going to start sharing more silent space on the broadcast together. And deepening of trust, that we can feel the transmission that's beyond words, that we're ready for that, and there'll be more and more of that to share. It's the most powerful form of communication that there is. Words are symbolic. The energetic transmission is direct and present and transcends the symbology of words or thoughts or concepts. And really is such a deeper, more direct communication than the words, because I say often that what I really want to say, I can never say in words, which is why oftentimes it comes through as in my books as poetry, prose. There's this absolute love, this absolute communion, empowerment, liberation, freedom, transcendent serenity is non-linear. It means it doesn't happen in a line. It doesn't happen step by step. It's now. It's a direct transmission in the moment. In India, they call it the darshan. It's a direct blessing and transmission of Shakti energy. So that's something to look forward to, paradoxically, and something to feel in this moment beyond the words that are transmitted. There's this sense of the presence, and to tune into the presence primarily, and the words secondarily. So we even have people that participate that are engaged in the broadcast that don't speak English, and that's wonderful. It's totally unnecessary. In some ways, it might even be more helpful. So, got a message from Keta Vida from Ireland yesterday, and she had a simple question, which was how to overcome fear. Hi Maddie. Hi Heather. I know it's beautiful. It's beautiful. The birds singing to us. Everything really is interconnected, interrelated. So I think the birds make us happy, but we also make the birds happy. And it's a kind of a positive feedback loop. We feel them, but they feel us, and they sing. And we feel them, and we sing. And the world is singing. It's just a matter of tuning in and being present and realizing it, and awakening our awareness to that which is here and now with a sense of appreciation and gratitude. So Kedavid had a question, how to overcome fear. So that's our question today, how to overcome fear. The question is simple in its statement, not necessarily simple to answer, because there's multiple ways you can answer that question. And it's actually, of course, it's one of the root questions of human existence. Because as human beings, we've been so grounded and rooted in fear, and this fear-based consciousness has a grip over us. You know, the society is constructed on fear. It's a fear-based society. The laws, the rules, the regulations, the fear-based, trying to keep away the bad things. So there's been a lot of energy and a lot of emphasis placed on trying to keep away the bad things, keep the bad things away, trying to control the good things, keep away the bad things. So this creates this barrier, creates this feeling of fear, like the bad things can come in, can overtake us. They can overtake us physically. They could overtake us also mentally and emotionally, psychologically, spiritually. And that's where the issue really lies. The bad things that can happen physically are not as predominant as the bad things that happen emotionally, psychologically, mentally, spiritually, which is for many people is constant and continual, seemingly. It's an everyday battle and struggle. So the paradox is the way to really overcome fear. I'm going to say something else again that is not necessarily a popular thing to say, or something that people are going to like hearing, but it's the truth, and I'm dedicated here to the truth, right? So the way to overcome fear is to embrace it, is to accept and embrace it. Because when we're afraid of being afraid, then we're really super afraid. Everything is potential for fear, and we're afraid of being afraid, so there's these levels of fear that are built upon themselves. When we can embrace the fear that arises, then there's no resistance or reaction to it, and that's when it's allowed to pass and move through. And the way to embrace fear is to face it. There's just no way around that simple truth. The way to embrace fear is to face it. The more that we run from something, try to escape it, try to hide from it, the larger and larger we make it. Hey, Nikki. The larger and larger we make it this kind of monster that we're running from inside ourselves. So to embrace the fear, to accept the fear, to face the fear, and then you can use the energy. So anxiety, there's a line in my book that says anxiety and excitement are the exact same energy channeled in a different way. Anxiety and excitement are the exact same energy channeled in a different way. Where there's a sense of anxiety, tight, constricted, blocked, afraid. When there's a sense of excitement, the energy can be used and utilized as a creative force. The catalyst for excitement and anxiety is the same catalyst. What is that catalyst? That catalyst is the unknown. The unknown brings either the sense of anxiety or the sense of excitement. Everybody with me so far? Are you excited right now? Hi, Nikki. I'm glad you're able to chop in. Love to see you here again more often. There's some wonderful friends of yours that are joining us, a great sense of community that's forming, and so great to have you here. Yes? Feeling excited, Tots? Excellent, because now we're going to go into the 4 principles briefly, and we could talk about this for quite a while. This could be a whole retreat, this could be a whole workshop. So I'm just going to touch briefly, and I work with people personally with sessions on this, and go in depth with personal issues. So if you're going through something that's a personal issue of yours and you want some in-depth help, feel free to contact me, and I'm happy to support you and create something that's works for you as far as a package to support you. So with that said, briefly, the 4 principles of moving from anxiety to inner peace, based on my work with thousands of people around the world, every continent, multiple cultures, walks of life, and my own personal life, first and foremost. My own experiences, my own exploration. Okay? So these are the 4 principles that have worked for me and all the people that I've worked with, and they will work for you too. And they are as follows. Number 1, the breath in the body. So the breath is the fundamental aspect to really tune into, and the body is the fundamental aspect on a very practical level to really tune into, am I in a space of anxiety or am I in a space of relaxation? So when we're in a space of anxiety, we're not breathing. We're literally lost in our heads. Literally. The energy is circulating up here. There's no energy coming down into the heart, coming down into the gut, the lower chakras. We're not infused. We're lost in the mind, in the space of anxiety. When we're breathing deeply, we're relaxed. Breathing deep into the bottom of our stomach. Is the body tight or is the body relaxed? So the breath, and this is verified through the ancient teachings all the way back to the thousands of years ago, the ancient teachings of yoga around the world. There's the realization that the breath is the life force that connects to the source on the physical level of the body. And when we're connected to the source, we're relaxed, we're on purpose. Breathing deeply. So you want to ask yourself throughout the day, where is my breath right now? If you're feeling anxiety, where is my breath? Am I breathing deeply or shallowly? You're breathing shallowly because you're in a state of anxiety. If you were not in a state of anxiety, you'd be breathing deeply, you'd be in a state of relaxation. Where is my breath right now? Practicing breath work, practicing breathing deeply into the bottom of the stomach. Meditation, breath meditation is valuable here. You want to realign, reattune your body to breathe deeply. On a physical level, this is the most important, fundamental, practical aspect. Where is my breath? Am I breathing deeply? I'm relaxed. Am I breathing shallowly? I'm in a state of anxiety. Okay? Number 2, huge, present moment awareness. What's happening right now? The anxiety that was created is created in our minds. And we create it in our minds almost always. The overwhelming majority of the time, it's created in our minds about things that may happen in the future, might happen in the future, could happen in the future, might possibly happen in the future, but are not happening now. If we can bring our awareness to the present moment and ask the question, yes, the yoga teacher says, Nikki agrees, it's the breath. Thanks, Taylor. Into this present moment, we discover something extraordinary. We discover a lot of things, but we're going to focus on one thing right now, which is what's happening in this moment is really quite simple. And what's happening in this moment is almost always not the thing that we have anxiety about, not the thing that we fear. What's happening in this moment? And you really get into specific detail, especially if you're someone that's really wrapped with anxiety. Specific detail. What's happening right now? I'm sitting in a chair. I'm hearing the sounds of the birds. I can faintly hear cars in the distance. The sky is sort of a beautiful overcast sky with the sun faintly starting to peek a bit through the rooftop. There's a kind of a turquoise blue awning over here. So we go through on and on about bringing yourself into the moment. What's happening right now? When you tune into the moment, the anxiety is lifted because the anxiety is based on what's happening in the future. If in the very, very rare 0.0001 circumstance where there is something scary happening right now, like you're being attacked by a grizzly bear, then you address it, and that energy is actually a positive force because it's allowing you to rise to the moment. That flight or flight response is allowing you to rise to the moment to address the issue that's happening. But that's unusual, and when it does happen, that's the proper response to what's happening. Present moment awareness is the foundation of so much. I mean, it's the foundation of so much of what I'm teaching and what I've discovered to be the essence of so much of what we're pointing at, the opening. So this practice in present moment awareness is fundamental in anxiety, in inner peace, in the freedom, in the self-love, and the empowerment, present moment awareness. Number 3, also huge, realizing the story as a story. So this is related to number 2. So sitting here, what's happening right now? I'm sitting in a chair in a nice room, it's quiet, I'm talking to beautiful people around the world. Now, in this space, I start to think, but wait a minute, what happens, like, maybe, like, this will happen, like, maybe people, like, won't like me or something when they see the show, and then they'll, like, write to Facebook and they'll say that, this guy, you should close down his account, he's so weird, and he says, like, really weird stuff on the live video feed. And what if they close down my account? And then if they close down my account, then I'll be so bored. And then what if I get depressed and I'll get so depressed, and then maybe I'll need to see a psychotherapist, but the psychotherapist will be really weird, and maybe I'll have like a knife, and so then I get I'm like 7, 8, 9 steps down the line, and then I go, wait a minute, none of that actually ever even happened. And I'm getting like so worked up about all these things in my mind, and none of it actually even happened. I'm just sitting here in this chair talking to these beautiful people. So now I'm back in the moment. So we realize the story as a story. Now, anything that has a beginning and a middle and an end is a story. So the deeper level, for those of you on the advanced course, is that it's all story. It's all story. Everything has a beginning, middle, and end is a story, which is all of it. It's a story. So when you realize the story is a story, then you realize it's not absolutely true, And then there's a second level that's possible, which we'll get into more in upcoming episodes here, that you can create your own story. You don't have to create a story that gives you anxiety, that gives you dread, that gives you depression, that gives you anxiety, that gives you fear and loathing. You can create a story that brings you love and joy and peace and ecstasy and excitement and freedom. You can create the story, but only when you realize it's a story. If you don't realize it's a story, then you're trapped, then it has hold over you. So when we're in a state of anxiety, what's happening is we don't realize that it's a story. We don't have that awareness, and we think that it's real, and then we're trapped by it, right? But when we can realize that what we perceive as real is not real, and it's a story, then there's the liberation that's allowed, and all kinds of possibilities are possible from there. Last one, number 4. I added this one after working with people for a while, which is, what I noticed was the people that really made this shift from anxiety to inner peace, there was tremendous inspiration, and what I call the inspiration to transcend. And that inspiration came from something outside of themselves. So oftentimes it came from someone they love dearly, like their wife or their husband or their son or their daughter or their parents, wanting to be a better person for them, wanting to make this shift in their life for them, not wanting them to deal with the suffering that they're feeling inside themselves, and wanting to make this shift in life for someone else. It could be for the larger community that you're a part of, the work that you're doing. The spiritual principle, the awareness that we are part of the world and the world is a part of us. I am the world and the world is me. When I make a change in myself, I change the world. When this awakening comes into being, this fundamental, gigantic, huge, monumental awakening comes into being, it changes everything. Because now there's tremendous inspiration to transcend, because you know that the only way to actually change the world, the things that you see around you that you think you don't like, is to change yourself. The only way to change the world, you realize, is to change yourself. And that creates this tremendous inspiration in all the areas of your life, including the transcendence of anxiety to inner peace inside yourself. So what I'm advocating, what I'm pointing towards, what I'm opening the space for, is to realize this awareness inside yourself, this empowerment that you are the world is you. When you change yourself, any kind of shift in consciousness, opening consciousness, immediately affects and changes the world. You don't have, not even in the sense of like down the road or the repercussions, immediately, because there's only one consciousness, and that consciousness is you. So those are the 4 principles. If anyone has any questions, I'll give you a moment to ask questions while I sip the water, or comments, any feedback you want to share at all. And then we'll have a closing something. I'll take 3 deep breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And if your eyes are closed, when you're ready, you can open your eyes and just take a few moments to look around the space with fresh, innocent eyes, as if you're seeing life for the first time, because the truth is you are. Carry this energy with you the rest of the day. Feel free to ask questions on this thread, first and foremost, so everyone can share in the discussion. You can also private message me on Facebook. You can check out the website, contact me there. I wish you a beautiful rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow.